my point on the Texas Tech game would be this. Texas Tech, the conversation, if you are too online, which of course I am, the conversation all week has been about Texas Tech's logo. It's not been about Kansas at all. So the fact that that's happening, one, tells you just how well the season is going for Texas Tech when, a 4-2 opponent with a great offense, you're just not really talking about that at all. It's all about a logo change. Now, maybe that will come back to burn them, but it certainly is like a state of the union right now on how quickly things have changed for Texas Tech. Like, guys, it was not that long ago. I mean, last year, Baylor was scoring 50 points on them in Lubbock, and it was just another season of like frustration where Tech thought they were going to break through, they didn't. I mean, this has flipped in an instant to where Tech is now they're easily the betting favorite, minus 120 to win the Big 12. They're not even paying attention to a 4-2 Kansas team at all. That is definitely dangerous. Had Mizzou down almost dead to rights in the fourth quarter of that game in Columbia. And it's just like, yeah, okay, that's fine. They played a C game at unbeaten Houston and won by 24, right? I mean, it's just like, this has flipped very quickly. On the logo. All right. I know someone asked for my opinion on the logo earlier, by the way. I think it looks cool. I think it's fine. I have, the beveled thing, it is a little bit like 2000s, 2000 to 2010. It has that sort of a feel to it. So I'm cool with them changing it. I still liked it, but I think it looks fine. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I think it looks cool. I think it gives Tech a chance to sell a bunch of new merch at a time when the brand is hot anyway. So, the marketing department, here's my take on it. Texas Tech just knows what the hell they're doing all the way across the board. And frankly, I'm a bit jealous of the way Tech's athletic department is just in sync right now with making all the right moves, playing all the right hits, doing everything they need to be doing at this point in time to make their brand better. That's my take on Texas Tech's logo. I don't care so much about what it looks like. It looks good enough that you're going to sell a bunch of merch. It gets people talking. It's just another small, subtle way to enhance the coolness of your brand. And Texas Tech is going all in when they need to be at a critical point in the history of college athletics. So congratulations to Texas Tech on that. And oh, by the way, they're getting a primetime Fox game here with Kansas coming to town. I don't foresee Kansas staying in this game, even though I respect Kansas quite a bit. If you check out the 3-Maw Discord for the K-State podcast we do, I am constantly getting called Cyhawk Kurtz. They all think that I am too nice to Kansas and Iowa State. This is a week where I don't see it for Kansas. Look, the KU offense is very good. They're 8th nationally in dropback success rate, but they are going up against the number 1 graded defensive backfield in the country per PFF. They're going up against a defensive line that is just a terror and will make life difficult for Jalon Daniels, who is mobile. Okay. But Texas Tech shut down Devin Dampier pretty well, right? A gimpy Devin Dampier, I'll give you that. But I'm just not that worried about Texas Tech's defense figuring out a way to get enough stops there. And then the offense, that's where I would really worry about Kansas. Kansas's defense has not been very physical this year. They've been run all over by Missouri and Cincinnati. I know those are 2 good rushing offenses, but I think Texas Tech is a pretty good physical rushing offense as well, and they've got all those weapons on the outside. I don't see the path here really for Kansas, to be completely honest, as much as I do respect Jalon Daniels, who is a top-tier Big 12 quarterback in the Kansas offense, which I think is, a top 4 probably Big 12 offense. We'll see how that take ages, but that's off the cuff here. So I think it'll be just more of the same, more of like a celebration for Texas Tech right now, because in some ways that's sort of what this has felt like for Texas Tech over the last couple of weeks, that it's just been like ever since the Utah game, it's just been like one big long party, like kind of coronation of Texas Tech. Like you go play at Houston, send a bunch of your fans there because the game's in state. You've got a bunch of alums in the Houston metro, so you can infiltrate that stadium. And it's just like a party. You get to have fun, and that's the storyline that week. Hey, we're going to infiltrate your stadium, and then you go in, and it's just sort of like a ho-hum 24-point win where you're never stressed at all. Now you talk about your logo. You get to have your fun with that, and then it's like, oh, by the way, here's Big Fox for another national game after the ESPN game that happened last week. So, like, life is good, I guess is the point. Life is good as a Tech fan right now. Life is good. Yeah. Phoenix Fox. Kansas doesn't even get a hate week. I mean, that's what it felt like on Twitter. I was seeing memes about that it was like Kansas fans trying to get Texas Tech's attention, and they were not obliging at all there. That is definitely how it feels, man. Bob asks, will Houston pull a TCU and limit tickets? Are we talking about, okay, Houston? What's the reference here with Houston? I mean, I know that would have been the conversation last week, right? Going into the Tech game. Hold, please, while I check. So Houston's at Oklahoma State this week. Maybe clarify for me there, Bob. I may be just being an idiot here in the moment and not quite getting that. But Houston is on the road in Stillwater this week. Okay, please do like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. We've got a bunch more people in here since the last time I said that. Thank you all for joining. Subscribe to the Open for Business Big 12 newsletter at ofbnews.com. You get it twice to your inbox per week. 5,200 plus Big 12 fans are already subscribed, and it is totally free. So if you want to support what I'm doing here and you want to stay up to date on everything happening in the Big 12, it's very easy to do. Just sign up at ofbnews.com or click the link in the description of this video. So appreciate everybody. Appreciate everybody who is here. Let's see. What was the other game that I was going to talk about here? Well, look, we can talk K-State TCU. I know I saw. Let me get to. I told you I'd be a little more freewheeling here today. Where was Fong Wei earlier? He had a question to me about Chris Kleiman. Fong Wei, if you got your questions about K-State, make sure and get it to me because I'm not finding it. Scrolling back up the chat here. Here we go. Okay, I found it, Fong Wei. John, your thoughts on Coach Kleiman insinuating they don't want to see Avery doing a whole lot of running? At least that was my take on his comments. Yeah, I mean, he made a comment again. He said they're not going to run him 15 times a game. I mean, at this point, I'm beaten down by the season. I'm beaten down by listening to his press conferences. I don't really care all that much. Whatever. They're going to say what they're going to say. I think there are some games where it might take that in the Big 12 if you're going to win. But it also doesn't seem like Avery is the most willing in the world to take that sort of workload in terms of carries. So I don't know, man. Like, whatever. It's going to be what it's going to be. He threw the ball really well outside of one pass that was a completely soul-crushing pick six last week at Baylor. His season statistically has actually been pretty good throwing the ball. It's funny. People think he's, the joke out there forever has just been that he's a running back. I mean, it's really like he's been a pretty good passer. He doesn't want to run enough and utilize that part of his skill set. I think they have other problems beyond just that, but do I wish that they would just leave that a little bit more open and be like, hey, if we got to run him 20 times to beat somebody, we will do it to win a Big 12 game. And Avery Johnson would be like, heck yes, let's go. Yeah, I wish that would happen, but that's just not the reality. Like, we've seen enough of it this year. So I will say, I felt like Kleiman was a little bit more critical at the press conference this week of just everything that's been happening with the team. The best thing that happened, quite frankly, was hearing him say, we can't be giving up a return to the 36-yard line when we're trying to just not give up a field goal at the end of the game to address the critical errors that have happened on special teams this year. K-State has turned it over 4 times on special teams this year. That is insane. We're in October, okay? That is insane. Anyway, that's a little mini rant, Fong Wei, on what's going on at K-State. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.